Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Q for You podcast. Yeah, it's been a long time, like 2 months. Sorry, holidays happened and the world is still kind of in a crunch a little bit. So yeah, we were all kind of just like dealing with that. And now it's 2021. Hallelujah. It's a new year. We've got new things going on. Hopefully some really good new changes are going to be happening with this podcast in the close near future. Crossing fingers. More on that at a later time. But welcome back, everybody. And welcome back my other co-hosts for today, Chantal and Dani. I'm Mia, if you didn't already know. Chantal, this podcast episode was all of your doing, so I'm gonna go ahead and just hand the mic over to you so you can tell us, let us know, and get us into what we're gonna be discussing for this month. So go for it.
We are talking about Twisted Wonderland, which I know. It's not officially a thing in English or has a global server or anything like that. It's only strictly through Japanese. And, it's unfortunate because Disney.
Is Disney.
It's Disney. As much as we love Disney over here in America, you would think we would get something like this. But Mickey Mouse says no.
The Disney overlords have declared it not so at this time.
I mean, they go about it a different way in Japan with Disney stuff.
Yeah, they're more
just
free.
In terms of the business side. Yeah, they're more free. Basically, like the Disney company doesn't own like Tokyo Disneyland, for example. So Tokyo Disneyland, really, that was built by like a Japanese company, and then they just pay or Disney, either they pay Disney or Disney pays them for the rights to their characters and all that for like the rides and merchandising and stuff. So like that park specifically is not owned by Disney, whereas all of the other Disney parks around the world, like in China, Europe, here in the US, those are owned and run like by Disney, like, and built by them, but the Japanese park is not. So that's why they can kind of get away with like doing like specific like merchandising or like doing Twisted Wonderland, because it's I think it's also Aniplex.
Yep, Aniplex
and Disney. So yeah, so that's why
gives
they can
me a little bit of hope though. Little bit of hope because since Aniplex's name is on there, I'm like, maybe we have like a 10% chance, but it's up to Disney. Like at the end of the day.
Dude, Disney would be stupid not to, because if they release this over here, do you know how much money they'd be making off like just like random merch and other shit?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we were talking about this earlier about one of the characters has a beauty line in the game, and I literally told the girls, I was if Disney released this, like legit just released this line, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
They could make so much merch and just sell it at the Disney store too. It's like,
yeah, you could sell it at the Disney store, the parks.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be like stuff about the characters, because each character is by their dorms and each one is from like each Disney story movie.
Dude, they make so much money off of like their Disney villains line. It's like this would just be like an offshoot of the Disney villains line, and they would make money.
Yeah, because this one features the
people buy stuff with Disney villains on it all the time. My mom still owns a jacket that has Disney villains on the back, like a denim jacket. That's how old this jacket is. She bought it, I think, at Disneyland or like at the Disney store. But my mom has had that jacket for like at least 2 decades at this point. And she loves it. Like, it's got Disney stuff on it. It's got villains on it. Like, people are gonna buy it.
And it's not like only that. There's been like a lot of fan merch where they make it really subtle, too. Where it's just literally just Disney villains. So I'm like, no, they can really take advantage of that. Like, someone could easily like buy a Pomfiore mask and they would not even know that's from Twisted Wonderland.
Yeah, as long as it has like the color scheme of like a certain Disney villain, like people are gonna know what it is. And if it has an apple on it, yeah, okay, like I know what that's from or like who that's representing. So it's definitely a marketing strategy that they could do, especially right now, at least like since it's kind of iffy to even go to a Disney park. like at all. So, you know, they're making more of their money off of like Disney Plus and just like selling merchandise rather than like park tickets. So, why not? Why not release that stuff to a global audience, localize it, make some extra cash?
Like, please allow this. For once, Disney already took us from the Mr. Love collaboration with Disney.
I know. Just give us this, dude. I'm telling you, give me the skincare line, dude. Give me a tea set from Hearts and Bowl, and I will buy that in a heartbeat.
It sucks, man, because I really think it would do really good. And so many
Yeah,
people are waiting, like, oh, wait for the English, like, server. And I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
LOL.
It might, dude. They like hang on to hope.
Wishful thinking.
Right? I know, wishful thinking on our parts.
You have so many weebs who will buy your shit.
We're gonna get copyrighted by Disney.
I know. If
Oh,
Disney
I hope
ever
I
sees
didn't.
this, you're like, what the hell? And we're like, we're sorry, Disney.
Sorry for talking bad.
But like, real talk though, Disney,
Bruh,
like, throw money at this, dude, and we would like hype this up for you. You have no idea.
They won't care if we talk shit about them.
Just want
We're like small micro potatoes compared to like everything else.
potatoes.
They
I'm not a
won't give
potato.
shit. I am a potato, so I don't mind.
Person calls me a potato.
I don't mind that Bill calls me a potato because I am a fucking potato. What's wrong with being a potato? What the fuck is wrong with being a potato?
I want to be a different vegetable.
I love potatoes.
The whole time he was calling them that, I was like, but I don't want to be a potato. Oh,
And when he calls us that for the first time, I'm like, I know I say that about myself, but I don't know how I feel about it.
Damn,
Like,
you're gonna be savage about it.
I'm a proud potato. I don't care if you're calling me a spud or not.
But we're getting away with ourselves.
So yeah, we're talking about the mobile game Twisted Wonderland. Just to bring it back to what we're initially talking
went
about.
off a tangent,
man.
We're done shitting on Disney. Well, at least for now.
For now.
So there's gonna be a lot of Disney talk, so if you love Disney too, you'll love this. As a Disney fan myself, as a kid that loves Disney like through and through, this thing, I freaking love the game so much.
As somebody who frequently visits Disneyland, like, I don't know, every like 2 or 3 years, it's pretty great. I really like it. I'm a big fan of the. I think I'm more of a fan of like the parks. I like Disney movies too, but I like. At this point, I really don't seek out too much, like, new Disney stuff. Like, I like the movies and stuff, like, I'll watch that, but it's been quite a while since I've, like, been like, yeah, Disney. So this is, like, a good... I like this, because I like that it's not, like, directly, like, it takes from the Disney movies and stuff, like, the story, but I like that these are their own characters, like... It's not, like... I like that it's not, like, Descendants, because Descendants kind of creeps me out.
Funny you should say that. Thanks for bringing that up, because I just remembered. Because there's a book called Twisted Wonderland Archive, I think, and that thing I should have. Oh my gosh, I regret. But at the same time, when I found out about this, I barely got into Twisted Wonderland, so my bad too. We're getting late into the fandom, but there was a book, and that thing sold out so quick. And when it was released, they were like, "Okay, we'll try to make more, but no promises." I'm still waiting for them to release more because the fandom, man, is ruthless. Because as soon as, like, which is also another thing, if you buy anything from Twisted Wonderland, just like an FYI, especially like the guidebooks and stuff, you cannot share them online. You will get in trouble with the Japanese fans, because also this is like a thing with like any fandom with Japanese content that's paid content. You're not allowed to display it out on social media. It's not like, to them, from my understanding, it's not fair to the people that paid like $30-$40 for the book, and they're just posting like the images for free for everyone else to see. And then also because spoilers.
But then how am I, as an international fan, gonna enjoy the freaking story, man?
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's like a double-edged sword.
Which is why I was like so happy to see like some of the images floating around and seeing like a lot of the stuff translated. But at the same time, I was like, I kind of feel guilty.
I guess those people didn't really care if they got in trouble or not.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't really care and weren't taking the stuff down, even though Japanese fans were saying, can you please, like, politely take it down? So please be careful, because we don't want to seem like complete assholes to the Japanese fans, and on top of that, it will ruin our chances of getting anything localized. Just an FYI. Please be respectful of the rules. Going back to the archive, there's a lot of information there. You get to see like which the creator of Twisted Wonderland, she does like the whole story, the art, everything. Is the same person that does Black Butler.
Yeah.
I'm not
right.
sure.
Yeah.
I think it's
Her name is like her name never sticks, but I always whenever I see it, I'm like, oh okay, yeah.
It's like the art and the story, like the same
Yeah.
the same person for Black Butler did this, and I was like, or she helped
She's-
with it, and I was like, wait, what?
Hold on, going to
She's,
Wikipedia.
like, fully-
It says the character designs, scenario, and concept were designed by Black Butler creator Ayano Toboso.
And in the archive book, she did say she did take inspiration from the Descendants movie,
LOL.
Which explains a lot.
which is how Twisted Wonderland.
I mean, I can see that it takes inspiration from it, but I'm glad it's not exactly like it, because, like, I like that these characters, like, they're not the children of the villains. Like, that just kind of weirds me out.
It's more like, I guess, like a spin-off of the characters. I can't, like...
I think they're more just kind of inspired by the characters. They're like parallels of these certain characters, but they're not like direct descendants of them.
Yeah, they're not exactly like the villains they represented.
To clarify, it is kind of like a parallel. So these characters each
they share characteristics.
There's some characteristics, design, something about their personality is from a different Disney villain. But not everything, right? Like they have their own stuff going on, right? But the thing is that you can tell, like the first chapter, is basically Alice in Wonderland, and of course we're meeting who's supposed to be the representation of the Queen of Hearts. So there's like certain things about this character that just stands out, like he's short tempered, he's a redhead, stuff like that. He has a thing about certain rules, and you're like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be the Queen of Hearts. Just by looking at him,
It's like the villains, they're like stuff of legend for these characters instead.
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, they're like a great hero from our history that we should learn from. We need to be like them. Not be exactly like them, but we can take inspiration and like make our decisions based off of what these great heroes have done. Because in their eyes, they're like, oh, they're like the Great Seven. So they're seen like successful.
Yeah, in the
heroes.
world of Twisted Wonderland, the story is basically in terms of perception, right? Like who's telling the story. The villains are considered, or put in quotations, the villains are considered, figures to aspire by. Each dorm represents one of them for being, benevolent, doing wishes, that's Ursula's place, kind of a deal. Like they're being told a different version of the story than what we're being told, but that story also exists. It's just what we're being told is different. It's really weird, but in a good way. So you're kind of wondering, like, who's telling the truth and what truth is really, like, if both truths exist, what are they telling these kids? It's very interesting.
It makes the main character or the player like question every time the player has a dream, like it's the events that take place in that villain's movie, and
in the movie,
main
like
character
we're seeing the
is
perception
always
that we know.
The main character is always questioning like the decisions made by that villain in the dream.
Like she's always like they're questioning it. Yeah, like they're just like, should they really have done this? Like, wasn't there another way? And of course, it's paralleling what's going on in the chapter, but you kind of get where it's coming from, right? Like there is another side of the story compared to what they're being told and what we're seeing.
It's an interesting like story overall, which I guess we should mention. We're not gonna spoil like every single thing, so
we're not gonna.
It would take too long.
Yeah, that'd take too long. But we can get you the characters at least, because that's not really spoilers, because they're out there, and we'll introduce you to the dorms.
Basically,
the
dorms, how you're chosen into the dorm, it's basically the freaking Sorting Hat. This is Harry Potter meets Disney villains. That's pretty much like
not wrong.
how it's decided. It's similar to Harry Potter in that like you have to have magic. Like you have to be able to use magic powers to be like accepted there. Except for the player. The player, unfortunately, you can't use magic. You don't have any.
The MC
you don't have any ability to do
magic.
So you're kind of like just a normal human, just like there accidentally with no way home.
It's one of the mysteries we have to yet to find out why we're there. So you can make your own theories about that because there's a lot of fandom theories out there. I'm sure. I haven't really, dove into that. I feel like everyone has like their own idea of maybe why MC was transported there. Or
Oh, I can
what
name like
reason.
3. I can name like 3. Going through this and like looking at it. I have like there's like so many. Oh my god,
What are
I have
your
thoughts.
theories then?
I have thoughts. I just have thoughts. So like spoiler, a certain overlord has come to visit us in the MC's dreams, and like during these conversations, it's kind of like I think the MC is there basically to help, right? It's something that happens in chapter 3. One of the character, like I guess I just say his name at this point, Jamil, kind of just tells the MC that they are a diamond in the rough and that they've been helping other people with their problems. Maybe they can help with them. Because it's kind of like one of those things where you need an outsider's perspective to help you sometimes rather than the people closest to you. And it seems to be working well for the MC. They seem to be helping out. But
Even though we literally do nothing but say a few words.
We're
and
literally
we get dragged
you
into
literally
everything.
just watch everything happen as the MC. Like you're just kind of observing things and then saying like, move out of the way.
While Deuce and
For
Ace are
moral support.
doing
While
something.
everybody else is like actually actively doing something. Because they can use
They have
magic.
no brain cells, but bless them.
No. We're always getting into messes thanks to Ace and Deuce and Grim. God damn it. And every time something's about to happen, I'm like, oh no, we're gonna get dragged again.
Now we have another
Even though
dorm
Grim's
to
like,
be
why are
with.
you being nice? Why are you saying yes? I'm like, this is half of your fault. You know
I
that,
know,
right?
right? Like half
Can
the
I-
shit we get dragged into is because of you.
Can I just say Grim is so annoying.
He is.
My god, like when I first started watching like the main story stuff, I was like, oh, did we have to like hang out with this thing like the whole time?
Grim is so selfish, man.
Like
Even in the Wish event,
he gets better.
Crowley, like in the Wish event, gives us like a star, and he's like, "Oh, yeah. By the way, you only get one between the two of you. So whoever wants to make a wish, you got to settle that between you two." MC's like, "Fine, you can have it, Grim." I'm like, "No, fight for your wish, damn it."
If that was really me, I would not let him have any control over anything.
Oh hell no! That he's half the reason we get dragged to these dorms in the first place.
So Grim is this little creature, cat thing. He's not a cat. He looks like a cat, but he's not a cat. Basically, he can use magic. So through through certain story elements or through one part of the storyline, basically, you and him are like registered as the school as one student because he can use magic and you can't. Yeah, so that's how you can stay in the school. So that's why like you have to like live with him and stuff.
It's the same thing with the Igni High dorm. Ida, hopefully I'm saying his name right. Idia and Ortho, they're also counted as like 1, 2. And we learned that through the Wish event. Because Ortho isn't like an actual human thing. He's like a robot Idia created.
What is it with Shotan playing robots, man?
I know, which by the way, if you guys love Shotan,
plays robots.
there you are. There you are.
If you love Ai Mikaze from Utapri, you're gonna love Ortho from Twisted Wonderland.
It's Shotan's cutie kid voice that he uses.
His cutie voice.
But going through the dorms themselves are really cool. Like they represent each of the villains, and it's really cool. Like chapter 1, we go to Hearts and Bowl, which is basically Alice in Wonderland themed esque, and it's
Hatsurebur. The way they say some of these names, I just have to laugh
right?
so fun, so hard. Redoru.
So
I can't believe this motherfucker's name is Trey. Like what? Oh my! Like.
Oh, not Trey Clova. I love him.
Kurova.
I literally have like
Kurova senpai.
Kurova senpai. I like Keita.
Oh, Tater.
I like him.
That bitch doesn't have a soul.
I think he's my favorite from Hatsurebur. Because he reminds me of Asmo.
He is a lot like Asmo, which is why I never see people like, oh, like Vill's like Asmo. I'm like, not really. Vill is more like a no-nonsense kind of person.
Yeah, that's way different.
Versus like Cater, he's more into he's more of like a fun, free-spirited kind of character.
I like him. He's probably my favorite. He's like really friendly and very playful, and I like that his like unique magic is he can make copies of himself. I think that's pretty cool.
Which is kind of funny, which flirty. Is a play on his
Yes.
it's a play on the so to explain, Hearts and Bull is of course supposed to be representation of the Queen of Hearts. That's her dorm. The characters we meet in chapter 1 are of course the dorm head Riddle Rose Hearts, who's supposed to be the representation of the Queen of Hearts. And then of course we have the cards themselves with the ace duo, so they like to be called, as they're called often, but I just call them, they have no brain cells, these two. And they're our besties throughout the whole thing, which is Ace and Deuce. And then of course we meet the upperclassmen, Trey and Cater, and they are literally the cards. They're the playing
they're
cards.
just the cards. They're like the most simplest ones. Like you can easily tell that's where they're from.
That's where the inspiration was from, right?
They literally have the damn card suit on their face, so you can tell.
Yeah, like
which
Ace,
one
of course, has the he's the Ace of Hearts actually, which I thought was funny. And of course, the Deuce, his last name is Spade. Trey is Clover, and Cater is Diamond. And of course, you'll see the suit of the cards on their faces painted somewhere. But that's the first chapter 1. That's who we meet, and that was an interesting chapter. And of course, second dorm, which is the second chapter, is Savannah Claw. That's supposed to be Scar's dorm, with the dorm head Leona King Scholar, who's supposed to be, of course, Scar. We're the representation of Scar.
The hyena, I would say
the equivalent. The hyena, Ruggy, and then of course Jack, who I love him. He has half a brain cell, but I love him.
It's a good boy.
He is the goodest boy. All right, look, he's assumed that first of all, and he straight up lied. He said he wasn't gonna help us, but he's like, screw it, I guess I'm going with you guys. Like, you just told me like 5 seconds ago you weren't gonna come with me to help me, and you did anyway.
He's a wolf boy, so
yes, he's a wolf. Bless him though.
Of course, I guess when I was going through the Savannah Claw story, I was just like, you know what, I guess I am a furry because I want to not Ruggy. I think he's annoying, but both Leona and Jack, yeah, you know what? I'll do it. I'll be in a Wolfman Lion Man sandwich. It's fine.
For the record, Leona's hot.
They're both attractive.
Very.
I like the kind of like tsundere ones, you know?
Leona is very...
He's kind of an asshole. Like,
he
you know what, though? He totally reminds me of how Aomina is in Kuroko, like, at the beginning.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of that. So, like, I don't really have a problem with that, because I'm like, you know what? I grew to love that character, so I would probably like this character eventually. Like, if he started being nicer, so you know what? I'll say yes.
He's an overall lazy boy.
Good, because you know what? Same.
Which is why he doesn't want to help us at first in the 3rd chapter until we threatened him.
Until we had to threaten his ass. Speaking of the 3rd chapter, we were in the savannah, now we're going under the sea.
My favorite!
I'm gonna butcher this name.
Octavinel!
Octavinel.
Octavinel.
Octavinel, yeah.
I would say it's Octavinel in like an English
I wanted to pronounce it that way too, but I was like, I don't know anymore. But anyway, the characters we meet, of course, are the Ursula equivalent, which is Azul Ashen Grotto. Not full shady as shit, but I love him.
He only cares about his stonks, man.
he only cares, man. If anyone counts a dime, it's him. And then, of course, the brothers Leech, Jade, and Floyd, who are supposed to be the representation of Flotsam and Jetsam, who are, honestly, they freak me out, but they're cool, though.
They're scary, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? This is kind of hot.
Yeah, they're scary mofos. They're scary, dude. They're like eel form. Like, I hate it. It's so I don't like it.
The eel form. I had to pause the video and just sit there in disbelief. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I should have seen this coming because they're from the sea. I should have seen it.
I don't like it. They're I don't know. They're too humanoid for me. Like, they're eels, but they still have hands and arms.
Yeah, some webbed fingers and everything.
It's weird. They're basically like, it's like this is like if Hogwarts had a mafia, like it would be this house. Like,
yeah,
like they dress, you know, like stereotypical like mafia clothes. Like they got the nice suits, the jackets. They got those like little trilby hats. Maybe not trilby hats. They're not fedoras. Fedoras is a wider brim. I don't know why people confuse fedoras with those little fucking hats, but they do. And like, you know, it's like I'm thinking some like Godfather stuff, you know? When you're there at the, because they own like a club. It's basically a club.
Which, funny enough, is named Monstro
Lounge.
which I thought was hilarious.
I thought that was funny too, but I'm like, because even though it's not from the same movie, it's just like, oh, he's a whale, lol.
Yeah, it's a whale. Get it, Monstro from Pinocchio, ha ha ha. And I was like, y'all are lame,
dude. All of the movie references in this, I'm just like, this is just like, is this what's going on like in another universe, like within Kingdom Hearts?
Yes,
because it's just like even the music reminds me of Kingdom Hearts too.
Yeah, there was that too. That was my second theory, but it's like really convoluted and it doesn't make sense.
I mean, I don't think they would actually like tie it together, but you could Pixar theory that, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
By the way, I do not believe in the Pixar theory. I think it's stupid. Don't even get me started on that. But yeah, what I really like about the game is I like that we're kind of introduced to different characters from previous dorms and future dorms, like within each chapter. So I like you get a little taste of all the different. It reminds me of A3 in that way, in terms of the story, like where I get to see like future characters that I'm gonna, you know, get to meet up with in the next like group of chapters.
Yeah, and even then, like from the chapter that you just finished, some of the characters will move on with you. With the exception of Ace and Deuce, because those are they're your best friends, pretty much from the game.
They go through everywhere. It's basically it's half their fault that we get dragged into other people's shit.
They're always there for us, except for when we, you know, go through Serbia.
When it's vacation time and everybody leaves.
Which is our next chapter with Scarabia, which is basically Jafar's dorm. Of course, we meet its two characters, the dorm head, Kalam Al-Asim, who is supposed to be the representation of the Sultan, and then Jamil, who is, of course, the representation of Jafar. And straight up, I love Jamil. I love his hair. Those braids, though.
Jamil, I was like, oh, you know, he's really cute. He seems like he's gonna be a nice guy. I was so wrong.
No, he's so wrong. Dude, he's shady as hell.
He's
so shady. And then once we go through like the events that happen in that chapter, like basically drops the whole act.
But you know, I kind of feel for him, right? It's kind of like Colin didn't mean to do the things that he did. Like it's kind of like how do I put it? Like he didn't, like going through life, like them growing up, it's not Camille's fault that he was treated with indifference, and that gave him a sort of naivety about the world and about how others were treated in his stead, whereas Jamil as his second was basically treated with that difference, and it's kind of like
it's like a caste system.
Yeah.
So
we'll dive into that in a little bit.
Jamil has to basically be like second banana to Kalim because like
he's the heir and Jamil's not.
He's literally he's like the Sultan equivalent, so like Jamil is like totally under him, and he has to because even his parents are like servants of like that family, so
yeah, they're
kind of like
servants.
Well, I have to kind of just, he always has to be number one, even if I can do better than him.
Yeah, even if I'm better, he has to go first because it would just look wrong.
But then even
kind of a deal.
But even then, like Kalim's like, I don't want to be coddled like that.
Yeah, even he fesses up. He's like, I don't want to be handed things because it was like he mentions it in a new chapter too, where he's like, I was always handed this stuff, and like the realization is like it pisses me off.
Well, he can't do anything for himself by himself.
Yeah, because he's always had Jamil to basically lift him up, and he's like, he even admits he's like, Jamil let me win, so it doesn't really count.
He doesn't know if he's good at things or not because Jamil always gives up.
Took the back seat. Yeah, he always gives him
his like first place winnings to Kalim because, well, he's like numero uno, supposed to be.
Chapter in itself was pretty rowdy, but it was a good chapter.
At least we didn't have to stay in the fucking ramshackle dorm the whole time.
I know, right? Like, why did you give me the abandoned building headmaster, you fucking bastard?
Because he's so nice, remember?
He's so gracious. I hate him.
Liar.
Every time we meet him,
he's
never there.
He is so
he's
shady.
Like, he's a terrible principal.
Like, how does
Where's
like,
the
in
school
recent-
board? I want to make a complaint.
Yes, can I see the school board? Like, how do you not like? Okay, let's get real. Like in the newest chapter, even the other headmaster's like, "Dude, don't you feel this magic? Something happened." And then fucking Crowley's like, "Oh, did something happen?" I was like, "Oh my god, dude, you're not paying attention. You're wondering why shit's happening in your school. You're not paying attention."
He even tells Jamil, like, I mean, at this school, we kind of take, like, we see the number one students as, like, oh, if their family donated a lot of money, then I'm gonna put them first. So, of course, since his family donated a lot to us, of course he's gonna be the dorm leader. Which I'm like, that's, like, I mean, that's kind of mimicking of real life, too, so. It
True.
sucks that that actually happens, at actual, like, places, specifically in, like, private schools or like colleges and universities and stuff. But yeah, he sucks as a headmaster. He's pretty terrible.
He is like, there's just that, but he knows more than what's going on, and if he's lying if he says otherwise. That there's just too many things throughout the story that just like negs at me. Like he knows more than what he's saying, and I feel like he's keeping the MC there on purpose.
Well, yeah, he's not actually finding ways to get you home. That's for sure.
That too.
Every time we ask, he's like, "Oh, yeah."
He's like,
sure.
"Oh yeah, I'm totally doing it. Yeah. I got it. How dare you?" Like he's like, "Oh, I got this. You don't have this. Hate to break it to you, Crowley, you don't." But we paid tribute to the Sultan, and now it is on your knees before the Queen, for we are in Pamfiore in the latest chapter, which of course is the evil Queen of Snow White. That this is her dorm. We meet 3 of their characters. I will not say the dorm head's last name because I'm gonna butcher it.
I can say it.
Bill.
Vil Schönheit. So,
There we go.
so like Schön, it's weird because like the way they spell it, that is one correct way to spell the word schön, which means beautiful in German or like pretty. But like but the more like correct way, at least I feel like this is the more correct way, is you wouldn't put the E there. Like you could put the E there if you want, but you would actually spell it SCH, and then you'd have an O with an umlaut, which is the 2 dots, that's an umlaut, and then an N, so it's schön, because there's another German word called schon, which is spelled the same way, it just doesn't have an umlaut over the O, and that means already. So yeah, just a little trivia. A bit of German trivia. I took German in college, so that's why.
German in college.
Yeah.
Our next character, of course, is supposed to be of course, Vil is the representation of the evil queen. We stand a queen because Vil has this rowdy, I'm telling you, there's this beauty regimen that he does in his chapter, and if he sold me the box with his, like, with Pomfiore's design, I'd buy that. But that's not the point.
I love him so much.
I love this bitch. Anyway, our next character is Rook Hunt, who's supposed to be the huntsman. He has, like, 2 brain cells, and one of them doesn't work.
His haircut's stupid.
His haircut.
He's the one with like the little Dutch boy haircut. I hate it. I think it looks so dumb.
His haircut reminds me of Coconut Head.
Oh, another coconut head.
I don't like it, man. But it's also like one of those haircuts where if you're Hispanic, you know. It's one of those
It's like a Dora haircut.
horrible, yeah, those haircuts that your mom used to give you when you were like 2 or 3.
I luckily was not one of those people because my hair was way too curly when I was little, so I would just have
I was a coconut looking head.
I had a little mini afro. Yeah, no, he's got like a little Dutch boy haircut. It's like really ugly. I hate it. His bangs are too short.
True that.
He's very extra.
Oh, he is extra.
He just
But
says
you know
he
what?
says random French phrases all the time. Like non,
Well, then,
c'est bon.
And gives people random ass nicknames, which the twins from from Ursula's dorm, they do the same thing. Well, Floyd does, one of the twins does. It's just freaking hilarious. Jamil a sea snake, which was hilarious.
he calls Vil Beta-chan.
Yeah,
It's
I
like a
believe
beta
it.
fish.
He looks like a beta fish. And then of course the last character we meet is Epple Felmir, and funny enough, he's actually supposed to be the representation of the poison apple the queen gives to Snow White, which was very clever because there's just like certain things about him that
I mean, his
very
name sounds like apple.
that too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it another word for something? Hold on.
I think it's more of like a play on words.
Is it a play
Yeah.
on words? Because
Apple.
because I was
the way they
like,
pronounce it in Japanese, it sounds like apple in English.
It
Yeah.
does, but my thing is like, because I wasn't sure, because they're using French and German words, even though like the original movie, like it was more like a German influence rather than a French one. But like I understand because like, you have the character of Neige Blanche in this, and, like, that's French. That's how you would say Snow White in French. Because in German, Snow White is Schneewittchen. Like, that's Snow White story. But, because in German, apple is Apfel. It starts with an A. Like, it does in
just
English.
be funny. They
but
just
I'm
decided to name
sure
that.
they said Apple because it sounds like apple. Is it supposed to sound more like French, or I don't know.
The only thing from what I can see, it's on the wiki. It's just a surname that can be taken from the French and Romanian word for farmer. Mir.
Yeah, because pomme is apple in French. Like,
Pomme fiore.
pomme fiore.
These bitches are extra, and I love them.
Except pomme in French, I think it's spelled with 2 M's.
Either way, they're extra, and I love them. Just...
Poor Apple, then, man, he has to deal with all this, and he's like, man, I wanted to be in Savannah Claw, not here.
Right, I just wanted to be a manly man and love this.
Apple is very surprising because you did not expect that attitude.
Yeah, he looks so cute, and you know it's a 180 when you get to know him. That's not the point, though. We still love him. The next dorm is going to be the next chapter, is what everyone's thinking. But we have yet to be, I guess, physically go there. The MC hasn't. But this is Hades' dorm, which is Igniheid, and this is Hades' dorm. I guess, like, the way it's supposed to look is like the underworld. If the dorm head's room is any indication.
Have you seen the dorm yet? Like what it looks like on the outside?
Not from the outside. I think I caught a glimpse of it. Like there's a picture floating around. I think it's supposed to be the underworld.
Yeah, it's basically what you see from like the Hercules movie when he goes to his little lair thing.
Yeah. That makes sense. That would explain his room.
So it looks like the underworld when you go
it looks like
in Kingdom Hearts 2.
It pretty much looks like that with like obviously like a little bit of a twist to it.
Yay.
But of course we meet the quote unquote Shroud brothers, dorm head.
Get it? Shroud, because they're shrouded in darkness because he doesn't come out of his room. I don't either, so, I can relate.
Yeah, Ilda's us, guys. I'm sorry. Ilya's us. Like, he's a weeb.
What's his name? Ildia?
Ilya? I can't pronounce. Like, forgive me if I'm butchering his name. Like, I'm so sorry, guys.
Ortho.
And Ortho, of course. We don't know much about them yet because we haven't been fully introduced to them. We literally just, like, I guess in this chapter, and then we just know just little pieces of them.
Yeah, the only pieces that you can really know is through like their story cards, which they're called like I think they're called like personal stories or something like that. And then through if they're in events and stuff like that. So far, I'm not really liking media. He's kind of a jerk. He's a weeb, but he's kind of a jerk.
He looks like an edgelord.
He kind of creeps me. Like his smile just freaks me out.
I know a lot of people like that really love him, but me.
He looks like one of those weebs that just gatekeeps everything and for everybody. Like, you're not a true anime fan unless you've read all 8 million chapters of One Piece and watched all 900 whatever episodes. Like, he looks like that kind of person, like that kind of weeb. But he also, like, in terms of not really like his personality obviously, but just like the hobbies and activities he does, it's kind of like Futaba from Persona 5 in terms of like, I stay in my room all day and I'm just clacking away on my keyboard.
Yeah, he's perceived as a net genius. He's a genius basically, but he's an introvert. He's like socially awkward,
which is why the cliffhanger that they gave us at the end of this chapter
is what everyone's suspecting, that we'll go to the Hades dorm finally and get to know the guys.
I just assume it's gonna go in that order because they're gonna save Diasomnia for last.
Which let us get into, because I have words about some of these guys, especially one of them who's a freaking ninja. Anyway, the last but not least, and certainly not last to be invited, obviously. How dare we? This Ammonia, which of course is Maleficent's dorm. We have some weird characters here. Sebek and Silver, for one. We don't know much about these guys, but they are avid followers of their lord, which we'll get into in a moment. This bitch is a ninja, but I love him. Lilia Van Rouge, who's supposed to be basically the representation of the fairy.
Yep, of the fairies.
He's actually pretty fun. We do actually get to meet Lilia very early in some of the chapters, and he's been very helpful to us in some instances. And by us, I mean the MC. Pretty chill, as far as we know. We have yet to personally know Lilia, but so far
Lilia, he is a prankster, and we learned that through the Halloween event. He loves to mess around. He loves Halloween, obviously. Like everyone in Twisted Wonderland loves Halloween too. Anyway, but Lilia, like,
geez, I wonder
he
why.
Really loves it because he likes dressing up. Because I think, if I remember correctly, Silver was mentioning, he's like, my dad, I mean, Lilia, which we'll get into in a little bit, why he says dad. He dressed up all the time for Halloween. The man loves it, and he has like colored hair. He likes to change the color of his hair. He knows how to play like instruments. He likes the guitar and stuff like that. And he's super like very goth.
Goth bitch. Like let's get real.
How can you not love Lilia, man?
I love Lilia, dude. But you got
He's
dude, you gotta
an
make
old man.
noise. You gotta make noise, dude. You can't keep popping up everywhere and we're having a conversation. You can't be like, oh yeah, I can help, dude. Like make a noise.
Pops in like a little bat.
Don't pop. Yeah, he did that once actually.
Which,
And
funny
that
enough,
scared the
whenever
crap out of me.
whenever you're studying or doing the lessons in the game, he has like little bats floating around him.
That's cute. And of course, the dorm head for Disharmonia. I'll always send invites. Always send an invite. I wouldn't want to be cursed.
Please invite him or he will sulk,
Or
according to Lilia.
According to Lilia, he'll just sulk and be like, I didn't get invited. You send that bitch an invite. And of course, we are talking about the dorm head, who's the representation of Maleficent,
The
Malleus.
main reason why everyone wanted to download this game, because everyone was like, oh my god, he's beautiful.
And of course, we're speaking of Malleus, Draconia.
It's that Squidward meme. Oh no, he's hot.
We actually meet Malleus very early on, and we get to know him very slowly. Although this is in the perception of the MC, everyone else knows Malleus in a different way. We do not.
He's like super elusive. They always talk about him, but you never see him. So that's also why the MC doesn't know that the person
The
she's
MC
talking
did not,
to is Malleus.
The whole time
Because
he
doesn't
it's someone else.
he doesn't even tell you his name. He's like, you just call me whatever you want.
Literally, he was like, she's trying, like, the MC is just like, I don't, like, he's like, Malleus did not believe that someone didn't know his name because he's, like, infamous in that fucking school. He's like, you seriously don't know my name? And the MC's just like, yeah, no, dude, I don't know who you are. And he was so amused by it, he was just like, all right, yeah, call me whatever you want, dude.
I like that aspect, though.
Mm-hmm. We did get to know a little bit more about him and his personal birthday story. The man he can kind of take things a little too far, because I think he wanted to show MC like, oh, like, how about I like summon thorns like Maleficent did? And then MC was like, please don't, you're gonna hurt people. He's like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Like, Malleus, no.
Like, he has a little bit of a one brain cell there.
He has one brain. Okay, look, let's get real, dude. Like, during the introductions, like, I don't know why you didn't say anything. You've been, like, night strolling and, like, meeting up with the MC. Couldn't you just, like, drop to the bitch, like, hey, this is my name?
He just wants to play with us a little longer.
He's he's been hanging out with Lilia too long.
Funny enough, Lilia was actually Malleus' care. Basically a parent to him.
Caretaker?
Taker.
Yes, I cannot English at the moment.
Lilia is Malleus' guardian. Fairies live for a very long time. Lilia is an old man. Don't ever say that to his face unless you want to die.
Speaking of Malleus, he doesn't like cake because he had to eat like the whole cake by himself because he didn't have people to celebrate his birthday with. It just makes me sad. I read that in the personal story. I was like, damn, dude.
I mean, dude, I would be the same, man. Too much cake.
And MC's like, you're not supposed to eat the whole thing. He's like, I'm not stupid, you know? I know that. I just don't have anyone to share it with. I'm like, that's so sad.
I'll share a cake with you, bro.
You share cake with Malleus, please.
You know, right? Share cake. Invite him to your parties.
I would share cake.
And the constant joke with this dude is that everyone forgets. Like, everyone's so intimidated by him that they literally forget to invite him to shit, and he just sulks in a corner.
Which is why Lilia's always there. He's like, I figured this was gonna happen. So
that's why the MC, except for the MC who, like, during like this newest chapter when they're having like the school, like the competition, and MC's like, I'm gonna give you these tickets, bro, because I want you to come and see the show. You know, you gave me a card for Christmas, which was really sweet. And Malleus was like so taken back because he was like, the fuck are you inviting me to this thing for? Like, for real? But of course Lilia was like, nah, he was happy about it. I'm like, Lilia's practically his fucking mom.
Pretty much is.
Just that conversation.
I mean, like,
just
it's pretty much confirmed.
It just made me laugh though, because Lilia's like, oh no, he said that, but you know, he was really happy about it. I can tell. And I was like, you're his mother.
In his personal story, that I think the person that really took care of him was his grandmother, but since she's like the head of the whole family thing,
his home and his like the household, Lilia was basically the guardian, and that's who he spent all his time with.
He's like the nanny.
Because the grandma had like absolutely no time for Malleus, which is kind of sad too.
So of course
we don't know anything about his parents, so we kind of assume that they're off somewhere.
We assume they're not involved in his life because, you know, again, Lilia was the one who took care of him.
Or they're dead.
And all that. Or they're dead, yeah.
It's Disney.
It's Disney. Yeah. The parents are usually dead.
We'll find out once we get to their chapter, I'm sure.
Which, of course, we haven't yet. We just finished chapter... The game just updated with chapter 5, which is Pomfiore, which, of course, is the Evil Queens.
We got 2 dorms left.
We have 2 dorms left. I expect Desimonia to be last because the hype for them is so real.
No, I definitely think it's gonna be last because when you do the introductions, when you first go on Main Street with the 7 statues,
that's the last.
You
person
look
we,
at all of you look at all the
meet,
statues in a certain order, and that's the order that all of the chapters
That's-
have
yeah,
been in. So I assume Diasomnia is gonna be the last one.
I can't wait for that. That reaction though when MC was like, "Oh, that's who you are," was hilarious. Everyone freaked out just like I thought they would.
Which I was not expecting that reveal so soon, but
Fucking funny though. I laughed harder than I should have.
I guess they wanted to reveal that earlier before the actual Diasomnia chapter, just so I guess that way you can kind of learn more
We have a
about
reason to
them.
go over there.
Yeah, you can learn more about them and maybe have more more private not really private time, but more time to talk to Malleus about it and be like, why did you just not tell me?
Because
and
legit from
MC
chapter
is not
1,
gonna say like, "Oh, why didn't you tell me?" MC's gonna be like,
Oh, yeah.
"All right, he's still my friend."
True.
MC
which
we're
is
talking-
literally the
Again, this is
reaction.
another game where the MC is kind of stupid. Like
MC can't say-
questions things in this universe, but then doesn't. Just kind of goes with the flow. Like if this was actually me, I would be like, I would be questioning a lot of these things more than the MC does.
Right, like, why am I being dragged to this door's problems? I just got rid of one. No, I just want to go home. Why is Mickey in the mirror? I have questions, MC, that you do not answer me.
Like, one of my big question is, this is an all-boys school, and I assume that, like, they want the MC to most likely be assumed female. Even though they don't...
Yeah, which is why I lied.
Even though they don't really say what your gender is, which is, like, I like that. But I assume most people are gonna assume that MC is female. So, like, how does that work? You're the only girl in the school. This is an all-boys school. Which it literally is, because... all the teachers are male, even though, like, almost half of the dorms were founded by female characters, but whatever, I guess. You know, you don't want other female characters in your otome gacha game full of pretty anime boys, so I get it. It's just a weird loophole that I'm just like, okay, that's kind of strange. Like, if that's one of the rules, you didn't have to say it.
For sure, they only use they them pronouns as far as I know. So, you know, obviously anybody can take part, and which is why it's not really considered an otome game. Even though
right?
you know, like you kind of feel like that. Like the fandom likes to joke like, "Oh, like it's not an otome." Like we like to joke like that, but it's really not an otome.
Yeah, it's really not. Unless the character is specifically like female, we're not gonna say it's an otome game. I'm not gonna consider this an otome game. I consider this a mobile game with a very interesting story that I'd like to take part of.
It's just a gacha game.
Yeah, so if you're expecting like this to be like something romantic or something, I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
It's like A3. It's in terms of the way that the story flows and how the, like, maybe not the interface of the game, but just the way that the story works, as well as just the dynamics of the characters and the player character. It's like A3, because they even call you, like, they use the same wording like you would in A3 in terms of, like, oh, director-san. I mean, they call you prefect sometimes. Not like the prefects like in Harry Potter, but like you're just like a prefect, like, again, like a supervisor. Like, you're just kind of like overseeing things that are happening. You're like an observer, pretty much.
Which MC does have a name.
Isn't it you?
Because it's like a gender neutral name, so that's why whenever you play the game, that's the name that it's set as. It's you.
It's a unisex name. It's an ambiguous name.
Well, again, anybody can play.
It's kind of like Obey Me too, because Obey Me's like default name is Yuki.
Did not know that.
Yeah, when you first play that game, you can keep the name as Yuki or you can change it.
Where were we? Oh yes, since we went off a
So
little bit on the tangent.
what else did you want to talk about?
My boy Silver and Sebek.
Oh.
Sebek is not my boy though. I have things to say about Sebek. Let's start with Sebek because he's listen. I saw his pictures where from the archive with his hair down, and there has been fan art. Graciously, like, basically redrew that in their own style. Looks really nice. Why doesn't he have his hair down all the time? But he is annoying. All he cares about is Malleus, and he will talk about Malleus 24/7. And he is so loud.
Yeah, that fucker's
To the
loud.
point where, like, Ace makes fun of him in his birthday story too, where he's like, Wakasama! He's so annoying, man. I really don't like Sebek as far as, like, Mr. Wonderland goes right now. Not my favorite character.
I guess
He's a little
you'll
too
just have
much.
to see when the chapter is released if you
Yeah.
like him or not.
But as of Right now, he's
So
too
far.
much. And then Silver, let me double check though. But I'm pretty sure he is inspired by Sleeping Beauty.
Please, Silver is, funny enough, Silver is actually a sword. Silver is the piece of the sword that Prince Philip used to stab Maleficent
Wait,
with.
how do you know that?
It's the piece that broke off.
I know, but where
Research.
does it say that?
Amal Research told me.
Silver
He's
is the
not
only one
human.
that doesn't have like
He doesn't have a
a
surname.
name. Yeah, and he is human.
Oh,
He
yes.
is
He's half human or some shit.
human. He's completely human, and they found him. I think it was Lilia that found him. So Lilia that's why he calls Lilia father, because when except at school, I guess they don't really want people to know like their relationship, so he calls him like Lilia, but sometimes he'll like accidentally let it slip. He's like, Lilia. Lilia's been raising him since he was a baby because he was abandoned as a baby, so they know nothing about his family or how he came into Twisted Wonderland, but he is like a full human, like MC.
But he could
And
use
I don't even know if
magic.
Silver has any powers or anything either, so
Yeah,
we don't know.
he can use magic, I'm assuming, because thanks to Lilia and Malleus and him growing up in Twisted Wonderland, I'm assuming.
I guess it's just like the environment causes change. I guess since he was found like as a literal baby, so growing up in that world, you're gonna grow up in that environment. And I guess it allows him to use magic. Whereas us, we're like what, like teenagers? I don't know.
Something
We're brought
like that.
into this world, so we're just a regular old human.
I'm assuming he's inspired by Sleeping Beauty just because he does attract animals, and he was always falling asleep anywhere.
Could be a combination of both.
It is not confirmed. We have to wait until the next archive book
Yeah, we'll
comes
probably
out.
have to wait, and then of course we probably have to wait for the last chapter to actually get to know him.
We just gave you guys like a brief little general talk about like each
All the
little thing, but
characters, yeah.
we'll discuss more in detail because I'm pretty sure there's like some characters we would love to talk about more.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess I can talk about the gameplay if anyone's curious, because I know, like I said, it's not translated in English. It's probably not gonna have an official thing here. But I definitely recommend downloading it and giving it a shot. But there's a bunch of translations out there. There's a whole wiki page full of like guides and everything that you could ever need to guide you through the game. It is a godsend. And there's a whole bunch of other tutorials too on YouTube and everything, so you're like good. You don't have to worry about anything like that. The fandom has you covered. The way that I downloaded it was basically all I had to do, because I know there's like, I always get comments on this from my videos too from time to time where they're like, how did you download it if it's only a Japanese in-store thing? I just made an Apple account. Or if you have an Android, you can download like this other app. I'm not sure the name of the app, but if you Google it, I'm sure it'll pop up. But you have to download an app, and through that app you can download Twisted Wonderland if you have an Android. But if you have Apple, you basically have to make a Japanese Apple account like you would your normal Apple account.
Which is what I totally did to download this game.
If you want to find out like how to do that, you can just Google like how to download Japanese games, and there's like a bunch of videos that should pop up. Pretty easy and simple to download. Definitely worth it if you guys want to play the game. I recommend, like I said, there's translations out there. There's people that translate things at the speed of light.
Definitely easier than making a Japanese Nintendo account, that's for sure.
Game doesn't crash. It works just fine. At least for me, at first it did crash. Ever since I like updated it and kept playing, it hasn't crashed ever since. So, gameplay wise, it's basically a mixture of battles and rhythm games. Rhythm games are kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Just because they change the rhythm games for each chapter every now and then. It's like the same ones throughout the game, but they change it from time to time. They switch it around. And it's not like your regular rhythm games, like for example with Utapri, with Shining Live, where you have to tap like in the circle. Twisted Wonderland says, screw that. You guys have to tap on a certain side of the screen. So I'm always like tempted to like actually push like where the little circles are gonna go towards, but you can't because then it won't count it at all. And then you also have like this other rhythm one. You have to like tap like actually on the circles, but it goes like super quick.
I guess they just want to be different from other rhythm-based games.
It is very, very different from like your basic rhythm games like I said, Utapri and Idler 7. It's kind of hard, man, because I hate the ones, like the purple ones. Like I said, those are like where you actually have to time it, because it goes by a time, counts 1, 2, 3, 4, tap. And it's kind of, I hate it. That's like my worst one. And then there's also another one where if it's green, you can tap anywhere in the screen. So I can actually tap like actually on the like the little circle things. Again, the one with the like where you have to tap like on the left side and the right side too. Sometimes it's not like across your screen. Sometimes it'll be like up and down too. And it gets kind of confusing because it's kind of like, oh, you want to tap like where it's going, but you can't. You have to stick your fingers like a certain way on the screen. It's kind of annoying and it's kind of weird. You kind of have to get used to it. And even then, I'm still not used to it really. That's one part of the gameplay, and then there's also the battles. You don't really have to do much. That's where your cards come in. You basically just choose your strongest card, and voila, you're good. Which the cards that you use do have like little elements, so based on what the battle is going to be about, like if you're going to go against fire, you would use like this element to go against it, and blah blah. It's kind of like that, so you can win your battles. The battles are sometimes hard. You do go through like at least a battle through each game, especially when the character is overblocked, which we'll talk about later. Sometimes the battles are kind of difficult in the chapters, and I feel like they're getting more difficult as they go on, which kind of scares me. And I think I might have to upgrade my cards a little bit more.
Which would make sense, right? Because the more houses we go through, like with the recent chapter with Vil, we know he was very powerful in potions. Like he's a good magic caster, so obviously his battle would be hard.
Yeah, I had to clench my butt cheeks, man, and hope for the best that my cards can make it through, man. I was like, I hope, man, I can make it through this. You gotta level up your cards, man.
Kind of like a Mr. Love
like,
situation
they
during the 24-hour challenge kind of shit. You gotta make sure your cards are...
Well, they want you... They would want you to make your cards go up higher because then you spend more of your rewards or whatever in the game. Then, oh, I ran out of rewards to level up this card. Now I gotta get some more. That means putting more time into the game. So yeah, it's definitely that element kind of, yeah, that reminds me of like Mr. That reminds me of Obey Me for sure.
Yeah, it's just a little bit easier than Obey Me just because the items, you can get them through your lessons. So you just basically get them as you go through. So it's not too difficult to like level up your cards and stuff like that. But I think it would be easier if you had multiple copies of the card too. But it's kind of hit or miss with this game.
Does it have that kind of element in it with where you can get multiple copies or?
Yes, because I have gotten multiple copies of Deuce, and if you guys have watched my Twister Wonderland gachas, and you guys can see like how much I struggled to get one of the Deuce cards, which was for the event. And the game said, haha, just kidding, we'll give you 2 of this card from the chapter SSRs. Which, by the way, not all the characters have SSR cards because, you know, it is a new game. But as, like, the chapters go on, they release new SSR cards for whoever's dorm it is. So next, since we're going to Ignihide, we're expecting a new SSR card from Idia and Ortho. So they're gonna get their own special little card soon. The gacha, I think, is very generous, in my opinion. Twisted Wonderland tends to give you a lot of free stuff, like free gems, free keys, especially now with the birthdays, you get like basically a free pull. So you can either choose to pull for the character, or you can save your keys for later to pull in an upcoming event or for your future boy's birthday. Up to you how you want to spend your keys. And yeah, it's like super duper duper generous in that aspect. And like I said, they always give you free gems, and you can get free gems through the lessons and stuff, and doing the lessons through like for each character. And like right now they're doing like a training camp. You can get gems through there, and they also have like daily missions that you could do every week to gain your gems. And there is a pity for the gacha. So once you pull like 10 times in the gacha, you are guaranteed an SSR card. The thing is, you don't know if you'll actually get the SSR card of that said event, which has happened to me multiple times. Again, I think the gacha is very generous. If you guys look at my Twisted Wonderland videos, and you can see like how generous it is, especially with the SSR cards. But gameplay wise, that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple.
Doesn't sound too complicated.
It's not.
Now, we did mention something that we probably should have gotten into with the characters. Something is very interesting, and there's like some theories going on with a certain character, which kind of leads into it. So Chantal mentioned something about overblot, which is it's basically when you're using your unique magic so many times that they have like a weird system when it comes to magic. Like the more you use it, the more there's basically how you would use an AC, right? The water has to go somewhere, right? So it's kind of like that. Your magic and what it produce, like the excess has to go somewhere. Once it becomes overloaded, something like really bad will happen. So overblot is basically a combination of really negative energy and like bad vibes, and of course you using your magic too many times, which causes the user to basically go berserk. Don't use your magic too many times or you're gonna screw yourself over.
Because everybody in the academy or college or whatever, the school, like they have their own special like pen. Basically it's like a pen. It's like their magic wand, and it has this little like crystal gem thing at the top, and that's what gets like all inky That's why it's called overblot, because you blot with ink, which also ties into like so many other things. It's like Epic Mickey up in this bitch. I don't know if you guys have played those games, but yeah.
No, I haven't, but I know what you're getting at though.
They're
like,
fun.
It's the same thing.
They're very fun. Yeah, when it comes to Disney games, they always have to have something like ink, like with ink and stuff. But yeah, it's like too much of the ink basically is like the excess magic that you use when you use it too much, and that kind of like combines with the like negativity and all of the overwhelming feelings going on. And so like they show it to you every chapter when one of the characters goes into overblot. So
either the dorm head or the vice dorm head in some cases
shrouded in like the ink, black ink, so their gem turns black, and that's when they kind of like go crazy and they look really cool. I love the like overblot designs. I think they're really, really nice.
Yeah, their dark forms look really cool.
And then they have like weird golems, like monsters that show up behind them that they can control. It's like a giant puppet, basically.
This way, it's basically
really
their
cool.
Heartless behind them.
Yeah, I guess it's what they would turn into if they got turned into a Heartless. Like, that equivalent.
That's what it looks like. When you have to fight them, of course, either the dorm head who goes into overblood or the vice dorm head in some cases. You have to fight them. Once you fight them, things go back to normal. But they leave this little black rock behind that is a deposit of their negative emotions and their magic that they produced at the time, which one particular little idiot's been eating.
Yeah, Grimm eats the little black rocks. Because at the very beginning of the story, like, you fight this other, like, overblot monster when you go into, like, the dwarves' mine. This is before you, like, get your housing all set up.
Yeah, you basically,
whatever.
Yeah, you have to get a crystal or something.
So, like, you basically fight this monster, and that's what it leaves behind, and he immediately eats the rock. And so after every time someone's gone into overblot, he just eats the rocks, and it's just kind of like, oh, when's he gonna eat the rock then? Like, all right, show me the part where he eats the rock, because I'm just expecting it.
At first it was funny, and now it's just scary.
Yep.
Because
I just think it's annoying, because I think he's annoying.
Well, I think he's annoying too, but like I'm surprised like no one, like Leona, Crowley, like they don't mention the rock. Like they know what it is, and I feel like Leona should have said something during the recent chapter, because he even like looked around, like he knew that Vil produced one, he doesn't know where it was. And then Crowley, the previous chapter, was like, oh hey, did you guys happen to see this little black rock? Like, can you like tell us what it is so we know, instead of being shady and shit and not telling us? This is why we're in the mess we're in at the last chapter, at the recent chapter, during the cliffhanger of it.
But how can he continue to be the worst headmaster ever if he tells
doesn't
us stuff?
Right, I know, if he tells us stuff, then that makes him competent. We can't have that. They might save it for
after Grimm
Simonia's chapters,
after he eats Malleus's, I'm sure something's gonna happen.
Dude, if he makes it that far, we'll see.
If we survive that far.
Yeah, I guess if we don't
survive
die.
Because the MC passed out at the cliffhanger of the chapter.
Thanks to Grimm.
Right, we could just be
it's
dead.
a lot grim. During like the later cutscenes with him eating the rock, you can tell that at first it was like, oh, these taste delicious. It's like, it's like candy. Oh, if different ones have a different flavor. And in the recent 2 chapters, his attitude is starting to change, where he's like, it's starting to become really creepy.
It's spooky. I don't like it.
You know what's also spooky? Seeing Mickey knock on the mirror. That creeps me out every time that happens. Also, I just laugh every time because Mickey's voice in Japanese is so funny.
It's hilarious. I love it.
Like, I mean, I get it. He's gonna sound like that in any other language because that's what he sounds like in English. He's gotta talk like all high pitched and whatever. But it's just super funny in Japanese.
I mean, I love seeing Mickey, dude. I fucking like during the recent one where he's like, so you have to take a picture of freaking Mickey.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, you want a picture? Yeah, sure. And I'm like, dude, question
I love
it.
Pictures.
Like, he didn't question it.
I really like that it's referencing the Through the Mirror short. Like,
That's probably why they did it.
I love that, like, that it's a reference to that because he's wearing the same outfit. Because I went back and watched that short. It's like 3 minutes long. It's good. It's when he goes because he's reading through the looking glass and he goes through the mirror.
Telling you, man, all the Disney references.
There's a whole bunch of Disney references.
I like that they use like the references. I like when you watch when you have the dreams of like the different movies. They just at least in the translations. I assume it's the same in Japanese, but at least with the translations, the fan translations, like they're using like the lines from the songs or like the lines from that scene in the movie.
Which is really great. Again, like Disney likes to. They did a good thing with the callbacks to the movies, and then of course there's hidden Mickeys throughout the dorms and stuff. Like it was so fun. Like in Scarabia's, when we go to the dorm, like in one of the pillows in I guess it's the lobby of the dorm or something, or the common
like the
area of
lounge.
the dorm lounge. There's like a pillow and there's like there's like a little hidden Mickey on it, or the chandelier has like little Mickeys in there, which is hilarious. I love that.
I love finding the hidden Mickeys, man.
It's like
they're in the cards too.
They really love doing that, man. If Disney could put hidden Mickeys everywhere, it's like, what did they call it in Kingdom Hearts 3? Because there's hidden Mickeys that you have to find in Kingdom Hearts. I forgot what they call it. It's like
God,
that.
I did too.
It's like that.
Right, you have to find them.
You gotta take a picture. I forgot what it's called, but it reminds me of that. What was it called?
It's been a long time, man.
What? Because Donald says something.
Hold on.
What is it? It's like a meme.
Hold on, I got it, hold on.
It's like a meme at this point. I can't remember what it is. Can you believe that game came out 2 years ago?
I think they called it like a Lucky Charm or something like that.
A lucky something.
Lucky emblems.
A lucky emblem.
That's what they're called.
This might be a good spot to find some lucky emblems. I can't do Donald's voice, so I can't do the line, but you always gotta put hidden Mickeys and stuff. But I like how Mickey looks in this one. He looks really cute. My mom would like this game because she loves Mickey Mouse.
Dude,
she really does. Dude, she does, because my bathroom is themed to Mickey Mouse.
So is my
That's
kitchen.
the dream, man. That's the dream.
Black and white tile and everything. Red towels. There's just all Mickey stuff all over my bathroom. We're very pro Mickey Mouse in this household. At least the character. I don't know about being an overlord or anything, but definitely the character.
I think that's pretty much it in terms like of the gameplay and everything, and giving you guys a little summary. So I guess we can talk about like the fun stuff.
Do you want to guess who our favorite is?
Yeah, guess.
Before he...
Actually, Chantal, you should name all your favorites and then guess which ones we like the most.
All right, so my favorites are, oh man, it's kind of hard to like rank them though, because like
you don't have to rank them
on the day. But Deuce, he's a good boy.
He has no brain cell. He shares a brain cell with Ace.
His brain cell is fighting itself, man. Sometimes.
You know, he has two brain cells. One he shares with Ace, and the other one just thinks about fighting.
The other ones are Azul, because I love him so much. And like at first I didn't really like him, but after going through his story and everything in his backstory, I was like, I love you so much and I'm so sorry. Want to be like those little kids that made fun of you for being chunky.
I know, right? I was sad. They were like, oh, he was a chunky boy. And I was like, so?
We like chunky.
Right? You leave that baby alone.
So I was like, I'm a fat bitch too. It's fine.
Speaking of Azul, we actually don't know like his actual true mermaid form, as they call it there, which is basically
his merf form. We could assume it's an octopus like Ursula, but he doesn't like to show it because I guess maybe his hips are wider.
He is very self-conscious of his form, so he doesn't like anyone seeing it.
My thing,
but he does use it because apparently, because it's on the wiki now, he can use all of his tentacles to get through like his desk work faster.
Yeah, he mentions it in the main story too. He was like, I had this many arms, so technically I could write whatever and like get through stuff. And I was like, damn.
My thing for him is like, dude, just embrace it, because like if you want to be like Ursula, like her attitude and stuff, dude, she didn't give a shit what she looks like.
Right.
She was fabulously rocking that shit.
But to be fair, he was bullied, so he's scarred for life.
That's true.
Yeah, he was bullied. Like those kids were little assholes.
True. You know what though? So was I, and I'm still fat. So, I just don't care. I would tell him, you know what, dude, it's fine. It's all good.
Right, it's okay if you chunky. We chunky in this house.
I won't bully you. We can eat and get even more fat together.
And what made him even better is that he's Sumugi's voice actor from A3.
That does not
even better.
Does not sound like Sumugi though. Obviously, like they're different personalities, but. That's crazy, man.
Another fun fact is that his parents do own a restaurant, but he wants like nothing to do with it. So there's some fun facts about Azul, my boy. I guess
that's how he learned how to run a business.
And then my next favorite would be Floyd. Because y'all know, if you guys don't really know me, I tend to really like the chaotic ones. So I think I saw Floyd coming in, man.
Truth.
I knew he was gonna be chaotic, especially because of his freaking voice actor. I was like, oh my gosh, I already know how this dude is gonna be like. Once I met him, I was like, yep, I love him too. But I loved him immediately because like his voice actor is oh shoot, what's his name? The name never sticks, but he's basically like everybody knows this voice actor. He's Bakugo's voice actor.
Oh god,
My
who
Hero
who
Academia.
the fuck is it? Hold on. I have to no, now that you said it, that it's Bakugo, I'm like, who the fuck is this VA?
Wait a minute.
Nobuhiko Okamoto.
There we go.
Nuh-uh, really? Holy shit.
So he makes Floyd sound very
Yeah.
creepy and very scary, but he can also be baby. He has mood swings too, which we see in his personal story, which is also another thing why I like him. He gets like very sad, very in like I don't want to do anything mood. Yeah, cheer him up, but he's such a good boy. He's just a little chaotic.
He's a lot chaotic. Yeah, a little bit. You're funny a little bit.
And then we also have Vil, who's my favorite. You look at him, he's really pretty. He's got the nice purple hair, like color at the bottom. He loves makeup. I love makeup, even though he's super like no nonsense. So I feel like he would tell me off for not taking care of my skin. And not being like, just taking care of myself overall.
Dude, that's one that okay, straight up, that's a bad bitch, and I don't want to be called a potato.
I know, but I love him. I let him step on me.
Dude, when he was telling everybody, like, okay, you can't eat this, this, and this, I said out loud, I was like, let me be a fat bitch, please. I want to eat what I want.
Dude, when he was saying, don't do this, don't do that, stay away from sweets, whatever, and I was like, why are you attacking me like this?
We were being punished.
I was being attacked. I was like, how dare you, dude?
I was like, damn, if he really did see me in real life, God, he'd probably think I was, like, really ugly.
Dude, he'd roast me.
But you know what? I don't mind being called a potato. Like I said earlier, I like potatoes. They taste good. That's fine.
But I want to be a different vegetable. He was calling me potato the whole time.
And then my last favorite one is Silver, even though we hardly know like anything about him. But he's voiced by my boy, Shimazaki Nobunaga. If y'all don't know, he's voiced Haru in 3.
Oh man, of course. I forgot that he's another VA that you like stan.
And he is Yuki Soma in the New
In
Fruits
the New Fruits
Basket.
Basket. God fuck.
That blew my
You
mind.
can tell that like, at least with me and Chantal, I think. I don't know if Dani knows too many Seiyu, but with me and Chantal, you can tell who we're gonna like because if they voice somebody we already like. Or we recognize their voice a lot, we'll probably like them.
Those are my favorites, and I guess now we can play our little game that we have.
Yeah, but guess which ones we like, Chantal.
Oh, jeez. It's really hard, but I think, well, obviously with Mia, it's Malleus.
Yeah,
She's
man.
been simping since day one.
I've for real, I've been simping just because I saw him, like, damn, he really pretty. He looks like every other fucking dark-haired character who's, like, kind of emo, but not really. Is, like, really quiet, but is, like, secretly nice when you're alone with them. Like, he fits that, checks all of those boxes for me, and I like those characters. And, like, I like his horns.
I knew you were gonna say that.
In terms of other characters, I say either Leona, Jack.
Bro, you hit that shit right on the head, man.
Jack is one of the goodest boys. He has half a brain cell,
He's
but
a
he's the
wolf
goodest
boy.
boy.
Of course I'm gonna like him.
I can't with him, like
I
him
love-
hiding under.
I always love the wolf boys, and then Leona. Well, I like him because I like deeper voice characters too. I just think this pretty sexy. Also, he's Kureno in Fruits Basket, so yeah.
He is.
Yeah, so that's one of my boys.
And then, shoot, I had like one more, but now I can't, like, my brain was like, oh, Kaleem! I feel like you would like Kaleem. Just because he reminds me of Kiro.
He kind of reminds me of Kiro, but I think I like Jamil better, a little bit more.
Interesting.
I like when they
Kaleem is also another one that I
like-
really do love.
I like when they have long hair.
It was really pretty. Like I like the braids in it, like the top, like towards his scalp. Like I love those little 3 braids. That was really cute.
But Kaleem is cute. He a cutie. He does have that Kiro, like, chaotic energy. Like, let's do all these things and eat food together and, like,
Right, let's be fat kids and be stupid. I was like,
Yeah,
bro, like slow down.
It reminds me of that. So I do see, I see the appeal. And I like,
But that's all my
like-
guesses, by the way.
I like Cater. So he reminds me of Asmo, and Asmo has really grown on me and Obey Me. A lot. Like I really like that character. So I like Cater. I like his powers. I think it's cool. He can make like copies of himself. The Octavino people, they scare me too much. I don't want to mess with them. They're all mafiosos.
Funny enough, I think I should mention is it is implied that Jade and Lloyd's parents are in the mafia.
Of course they are.
It is
There you
implied.
go. There you go. They're like, they scare me. I don't want to mess with them. I didn't like Riddle too much. I actually thought he was kind of a little bitch. Just crying too much later on, and I don't know. All those rules, man. I can see why Deuce and Ace, like, just do whatever.
I mean, he gets a little bit better, man.
He did get better, but I was still just like, dude, you're acting like a 5-year-old, and I can't deal with you.
Right in his chapter, I wanted to smack him. I was like, "Bitch, get it together. Good God, girl, get a grip."
And he's voiced by Natsuki
I was gonna say it's
Hane.
Tanjiro.
Yeah.
I was like, who is it? It's Tanjiro.
I love Natsuki Hane. He's like basically in everything. If you don't know him, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah. No, he is in everything.
As for Dani, her favorites, I'm assuming Jack, and I'm assuming Jamil because you're like, oh no, he's hot.
Those two are they're part of the top 5. That's for sure.
You have a top 5.
Well, I'm like so like my tops are like, so think about it this way, like one of my favorite characters. It's like one of those weird combination of things. So like Jamil, yes, and Jack. I just have like, I don't know what it is, but like Jack's one of those guys where he was like, what really got me was he literally goes with the MC to the Ursula dorm, right? He's like, what? I said I'd go. I mean, you can't do anything. You don't have magic, so what are you gonna do? And
He even told us not to sign the contract with the Zool, and I'm so
I know,
like,
right?
screw it, I'm gonna do it.
And then, like, even then he was like, I'm not gonna help. Yeah, fine, I guess I'm gonna help. I'm like, you just told me 5 seconds ago you weren't gonna help me.
He protect, he attack, but most importantly,
He doesn't know how to hide.
He got your back.
He don't know how to hide behind a desk.
Yeah,
This
I want
fluffy
to touch his floofy tail, and I want to pet his head.
Right,
His
let me
hair
touch the
looks
fluffy
so
tail.
soft.
Because even Azul was like, I saw your fluffy tail, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how fluffy is it?
I think that's why I like wolf characters, like when they're like wolf guys, wolf boys. I don't know how else to describe it. Because I want to touch the floofy tail, man. I love touching my dog's tail. Like hers isn't that floofy, not like a wolf tail, but like I like petting dogs, especially when they're really floofy.
And I'm gonna just take one more guess and say Vil.
You know, I stand a bad bitch, but he's actually, yeah, he's like, well, he's one of them.
But that's all my guesses. I don't know about the others.
Funny enough, it's actually Malleus and Lilia.
Interesting.
I actually like Lilia because, like, I got these, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you can tell that he's just, like, yeah, you know, he's just pranking on you, but, you know, he's got good intentions. Like, when he helped with, in chapter 3, when he tells Kater, he's like, oh, if you just wanted to wear my uniform just once, I totally would have let you borrow it. And I was like, you were so weird. Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those casual things you hear is like, oh, I've always wanted to wear Desdemona's uniform just one. He's like, and then Lily's just there like, oh, if that was the case, you should have told me. I totally would let you borrow it. And I'm just like, bro, what? And like him popping in random conversations is hilarious. I just think it's just so funny because other times it's like, oh, hey, yeah, I remember you. What do you do? What's going on? What's happening? And then I'm just like, bro, you just popped up like 5 seconds ago. Like, what? Like, how are you cool with this? But I like Lilia. Like, he's a ninja man. A ninja.
Funny enough, Lily is voiced by H.E. in the Utapri franchise.
Yeah, it's a. Who else is he? Which, because he's in Diabolic Lovers too. Which I'm not gonna bother to look up which fucking character he is because, like I told them earlier, that's just a bunch of hot garbage. But I think he's one of the main. I think he's like the main brother in Diabolic Lovers. But it's H.E. from Utapri. I was like, he needs to be saying E so I can recognize him.
I'm looking this up too because like I know I recognize his voice, but I'm like really bad with like seiyus sometimes. Like I have to really like.
Lol, he's best genius in My Hero Academia.
Are you?
LOL.
Where does?
Oh, that's why. Because yeah, no, we found he's Cherry Blossom in Skate the Infinity. There we go. Yeah, no, because I remember you were like, oh, it's Cherry Blossom, and you like Cherry Blossom from.
I do, and I did not recognize.
Is Cherry Blossom your favorite?
So far, yeah, I really like him. Besides the main one, the redheaded Reki.
Anyway, back to Twisted Wonderland. Yeah, anything else? Play the game, read this, or what? Read, catch up with the main story. It's good.
Yeah, basically, the main story still hasn't been concluded yet. We are still, as you guys can tell, based on our conversation throughout this whole podcast.
2 dorms left.
2 dorms left, so it's more of a to be continued.
Yeah, it's basically an ongoing story, right? We're just it's chapters at a time kind of a deal.
The events are fun. They're not voiced. The events so far that I played are really they're not voiced, which makes me like, oh, like I wish, because you kind of like at this point you kind of like expect to hear the voices, but they're not. And most of the VAs are actually stage actors or actors.
Mm-hmm. They're not a lot of them are seiyu. Like this is their first like seiyu gig.
I think Kalim's and Jamil's are the ones that were I think I remember somebody saying that this is like their first seiyu role. And there is a few others. I think Vil is also counted as one. I can't remember. But if you guys do your own research, you will see. Lots of familiar voice actors too.
I think that's pretty cool that they like mix like the like veteran Seiyu with like newbies, like because A3 kind of did that too when that game first came out in Japanese, I think.
Yeah, I mean the events aren't too bad. There's like no such thing as like ranking.
Oh really? That must be nice.
It's really nice, so you can actually just take it easy and you can just do what you need to
So
do
there's
in the
no
event.
like there's no like ranking rewards that you have to like try
No.
to tier for. Oh my god, that sounds so nice.
You don't. All you have to do is just do like a certain amount of things, like play the rhythm game like a certain amount of times, and then they were like, "Okay, here you go. Here's the card."
Can you
Bless them.
autoplay? Can you autoplay the rhythm parts?
No, but even if you don't, like, you'll still count it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny because
They're really
speaking
like
of
holding
rhythm,
your hand this whole game while you play.
while you're playing the rhythm game, if you mess up, so the little chibi characters that you have on there,
Oh, well, they make faces at you?
yeah, they make faces, and it's so hilarious because every time you mess up, you'll see like either they'll trip or they'll make like cute little like faces, like what the hell, like what was that?
Damn, they roast
Like
you while
why?
you're playing the game.
Why did you mess up?
Jim Mills is hilarious. His reaction, because whenever you mess up, he looks angry. He looks so mad.
I like the chibi parts because again, that also reminds me of like A3 when you watch the plays and they're all chibi. I like that they have those little chibi designs. I also like that they have their like unique powers and they each have like an ability name.
Oh, that's right.
That like has something to do with like it's like a reference to like the story that they're or the character that they're like inspired by. It's kind of like the ability names in like Bungo Stray Dogs pretty much, like where it has to do with like it's like a reference to like that person specifically. Like I really like that. And I like that they're all like in English. So I'm curious to see what the what the last two like dorm leaders like what their their magic is called.
Right?
Turn into a dragon, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like whether it's his overblot form or like his unique magic, I just need a dragon reference because he has the horns, dude.
Vils is my favorite overblot form out of all of them so far.
I mean, Renaissance dress and everything. I lived.
And everyone was making fun of him though, like, oh, this is like from the gala from like a few years
Oh,
ago.
the Met Gala.
Oh, those
Yeah.
bitches, they would say that. How dare you?
I
We're
was
not
like, yep, we cannot deny that.
I mean, I don't deny it, but how dare you insult a queen?
He looked really good though.
I
Right?
like all the Overblot designs. I think they're all really cool. I like that they all look those are all more of like a reference to like who they're like the like
What villain they're
dorm
supposed to be
founders.
representing.
Yeah, like which villain they're supposed to be. Like I like that it looks exactly like you know exactly who they're supposed to
Like when you look at their
reference.
overblot form, like you can tell like when Riddle goes overblot, like his outfit changes where it's kind of like a dress where it kind of like the roses from white to red. The silhouette is very similar to the Queen of Hearts, and then of course his shadow is the Queen of Hearts. Before you even look at the shadow and you look at the design, you can tell like again right away that this is the character that they're supposed to be representing, or you know, just like a parallel to.
I like that it's like if to me like a good way to describe it if you have never seen what it looks like, it's like imagine if you had like a really good like if you were to like draw like a fan drawing or something of like what this character would look like as a pretty anime boy, it will look like their overblot design. At least that's what I like to like equate it to, because they're just so cool. And then they have like
Azul's is just like
they
an
have
octopus.
yeah, they have like that weird like one of like on all of them like one of their eyes is like all like crazy
little
color.
glowing.
Yeah, it's all glowing. I like that Jamil has like snakes in his
Yeah,
hair. I think that's
his
so cool.
braids are officially like vipers, like when like it's a Jafar reference
Well,
from
yeah,
like
turned into a snake.
yeah, and of course it's also Jamil's last name because his last name is Viper, which is kind of funny. The game is great though. Like if you love Disney and you love playing games, like just in general, I recommend playing it.
And you like pretty anime boys, you'll like this game.
And each of the stories is basically just exactly like the
It's like
Disney story that you know and love,
it's like
but with the twist.
It's like an adaptation of like the movie like the story of like the movies.
I'm telling you, man, if you're a Disney fan, you're gonna love this thing.
Because even the teachers are all references to other villains.
Yeah,
Like
which we never even mentioned
the
teachers.
staff, they're all like references. I mean, we could go by it really quick.
Which I mean, you have the one that's based off Cruella de Vil, Krill, which looks really nice,
Calls
man.
everybody puppies.
Which was hilarious, and I laughed harder than I should have.
Then you have Gaston's version, which is
He's like
Vargas.
He's the PE coach.
Yeah, he's a
PE
PE
coach.
teacher.
He's super buff and everything.
Hilarious.
And then you have Sam, which is a shopkeeper. He's based off of
He's Facilier.
He's Dr.
Yeah.
Facilier.
And we're missing somebody.
Oh,
Cinderella's stepmother.
Train, yeah, he's based off of Lady Tremaine from Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a cat.
His name is Train Sensei.
There we go. And then his cat looks basically like Lucifer.
But the cat's name is Lucius.
Yeah, I see you, Disney. You can't fool me.
But the teachers are great, which we do get to see the teachers a little bit more in the Halloween event. My gosh. The Halloween event, bless Twisted Wonderland, they give us a whole month to pull in the gacha. They gave us so many cards.
That's very
and
generous.
It was great.
Most gacha games, it's like, oh, you have like 3 days between events. In like certain games.
No,
like,
man,
with other games, it's like I just got done doing this previous event, and I only have 3 days till the next one. Please stop.
I'm assuming they are like a little laid back since they had to work on the main story. So it's probably why they don't want to overwhelm us so much with events either. I'm assuming, but who knows? Maybe they just want us to give us a break and stuff. But we are having an event, which is going to be like, everyone's already like making fun of it. Because it's going to be like a cooking event, not a Valentine's event. It's just a cooking event. So
It's basically Cooking Mama with Hearts and Bowl. That's basically what we're doing.
So I'm pretty sure we'll have the cards revealed soon. But that's the theme for February. The events are really nice though. Like I said, you don't have to rank. Play casually.
Small
You play for the
blessings.
cards. It's a pretty good, simple game.
It's a lot to catch up to, but I mean, if you have the time, like you can get it done in like a couple days, 3 days.
Chapters get longer and longer as you go through.
Just watch it on like 1.75 speed on YouTube, and you're fine if you can read fast.
Oh my gosh, dude! I can't believe they freaking sang "Hi Ho" the chapter,
Dude, I laughed harder than I should have when I
and
saw
they made
that. They
everyone
made the
else do
fucking
it.
guys do the at the end of it. They're like
Ace and
fucking,
Deuce were like, "I guess if we have
fuck
to."
my life. No, but they looked on their faces was like, why am I doing this? And even at the end when they're done singing Vil, everyone's like praising Vil. They're like, oh my god, this is the professional. He's like pulling through. This is the guy he hates the most, and he's still doing it. And as soon as the music cuts off, he's like, get me the fuck out of this right now. Someone knock me
He was
the
just
fuck
like,
out. I'm
"God,
out."
take me now, take
Right?
me."
He was like, take me, Lord, into your embrace. I'm done.
Even though he was smiling and having fun, Jamil wasn't even trying to sing. Oh man, Jamil, he was just like, "Screw this! Why am I doing this?"
Right? He was so done. You can even tell he was just like, just end me. Why
Versus
am I here?
Kaleem and Rook were like very into it. I still can't believe they sing "Hi Ho." Like, wait, I should have seen that coming.
It's Snow White. They're gonna cram Hi Ho into there somehow.
But it was as much as I hate to say this, it was actually pretty catchy.
It was.
Because I was like, oh my god! And I was like, heh heh. And I was like, wait a minute, I was supposed to be cheering for you.
That made me so mad though, because during
Dude.
Bill's chapter, my boy worked so hard.
And this bitch fucked it up.
And he didn't do anything, and they were like, "Oh, they're messing up, but it's kind of cute." I'm like, "No, don't you dare disrespect my boy. He worked so hard. He made them all go through a diet."
We're all going back to that, right? We're like, he made him go on a diet. He did. It was brutal.
It was not fair.
It was brutal. It was bad, man.
I liked the audition part where they're like
Oh, man.
singing the song. Like, I was like,
the OP.
yeah, they're singing the OP. I was getting down to them singing it.
I know.
It was
they're
the
all
OP.
really
I was like, wait a minute.
They're all good singers, man.
I mean, you would need to with a game like this if you're gonna have an original like OP and you want all of them to sing it.
Yeah,
They actually don't all of them sing it.
Well, most of them, you know what I mean. You get like the
Yeah.
certain characters. Oh yeah, it's like A3 where you have the leaders of the troops like singing like the.
I think it's like a separate band that obviously like does the theme song for Twisted Wonderland, but you also have like the characters because the events that happen in Pomfiore chapter where they have to sing it for like the audition, and then Bill creates his original song.
I love when these games like they give you like those little extra goodies like character songs or just extra insert songs.
Right?
That's when you know they really care about the characters and the fans, because it's one more thing that you have to buy. You just have to have it.
I forgot we did get a question.
Oh, did we? Oh, we have a question? Okay, go.
It was from Shaman, so thanks, Shaman.
Oh, yes, thank you, Shaman.
She said, if you were transported into the Night Ravens College, which dorm would you join and why?
Diasomnia, so I can be with Malleus and I could touch his horns. Also, they seem like nice people, and I like Sleeping Beauty.
I feel like I want to go with Octavine just because of Azul and my boy Floyd. I don't know how well I would fit, so I'm gonna go with Pomfiore. I feel like I would fit, but then again, I don't want to get yelled at by Vale.
Right, I can be called a potato. I'm
So
already a potato. Don't insult
maybe
me.
I'll stay with Azul and Floyd.
You'll say Noctavanella.
Yes.
I have to say Hearts and Bowl. I love Alice in Wonderland. It's my I have literally read every copy and reimagined story of Alice in Wonderland there ever is, and of course my daughter's named after the titled character, so I would love to be there.
So that's our question and our answer. So thank you again, Shaman, for submitting a question. We will let Mia do our outro.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. Again, all our links are in the description. Follow us on Twitter individually and also on the podcast. And subscribe if you haven't. Sub to me and Chantal on our individual YouTube channels. And yeah, we'll let you know what we're gonna do for next month. I'll figure out what I'm gonna pick, so don't worry. It's gonna be a fun time for sure. Well, whatever it is we're gonna talk about. But yeah, again, let us know in the comments what you thought, who your favorite characters are, what you can answer the question in the comments as well. Which house, which dorm would you want to be sorted into, I guess, would be a good term for it. Yeah, with that, we bid you adieu. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Till next time.